Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. As always, as usual, good to see you all again. So yeah, still just working on Alchemortis. I've been working on it basically all afternoon. I did take a break, played a couple of rounds of Arc Raiders. So, you know, we have a little fun as well, but I have more work to do, and I'll show you some of the things that I got done this afternoon. Before I get into it though, I will just mention that all the ways that you can support the game are linked in the description below. We don't have to do the whole ads and all that stuff, but the Steam page is linked below. The playtest is coming out on Friday, so I'm basically just getting the finishing touches on the game, not making any major changes. There are some tweaks that I want to do to make sure that it feels as good as possible. But yeah, that playtest is coming out on Friday. That will be for Patreon subscribers only for 1 week. And then after that 1 week Patreon only early access period, the playtest will be open for anyone that wants to join, and that will be joinable from the Steam page. So Patreon members get a week of access before everyone else, and then everyone gets an additional, well, everyone who's not a Patreon subscriber gets a week of access, but the Patreon members will end up having 2 weeks of access to the playtest. So yeah, anyway, that's how it's going to go. And yeah, you can join the Discord so that you can give me your feedback when you have it, if you have it. Otherwise, let's get into the stuff that we're going to be working on here. So What did I do? I guess I didn't write down a bunch of stuff that I did, but I was just going through the game this afternoon. I was tweaking a bunch of sound effects. I tweaked some flavor text. I updated the frog art. What did I do here? I fixed some sound bugs. Some positioning bugs for the tutorial. And fixed the new board algorithm that I was talking about earlier. So yeah, just a bunch of miscellaneous fixes, tightening everything up, making sure it feels pretty good. And there's one thing I need to do here. I need to disable the sound effects. Skip menu, mute music, mute sound effects. Okay. Cool. All right. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Game development stream DLC. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're doing round 2 now. Yes. We are doing round 2. Hello, Kusei. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hello, Val Q Rose. Welcome, welcome. It's night in your country right now. We're doing game dev here. Yes, we are. Hello, Bomb That Implodes. Welcome back. Tuto, wishlisted. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And thanks also to everyone who has wishlisted it. The sun is in my eyes again. See if we can fix it without making me too dark. Well, oh well, it's fine. So anyway, since I redid the frog art, I took this pond that was a part of the old frog art and I just made it into just like a pond. So this will be an enemy faction card now instead of a player card. So I just took the background that I had drawn for the player frog card and I just added this little foreground flowery plant element here. So this can be an enemy card. I stopped where I need to add an ability. So we'll do that first. We'll add abilities for the pond. And we got to figure out what we want this pond to do. Something that's thematically appropriate, ideally. The other thing I can do is I can go to my pond here and I can update this data. So this will be a... I guess we'll just make it a ritual item. There's not really a good tag that fits here. I guess we'll make it ritual. Minimum notoriety region 1, maximum notoriety region will also make it 1. So the pond is only going to appear in that second region. Loot table weight, we don't need to worry about that. And then this is enemy and is flippable. Okay. So we've got all the data set up for it. Now we need to come up with an ability. I need to be able to see like what enemy cards are. I really need to update this tool, this board configuration editor, so that I can apply all kinds of filtering and stuff. That would be ideal. Like, I would love to be able to filter this by... Wonder if I should spend some time working on this. Maybe I should spend some time working on this. I would love to be able to filter this by enemy card, but also ability type, and so on and so forth. Anyway. So I'm just trying to see, I think I have a lot of healing abilities on the enemy. Heal kind of seems like an obvious thing for the pond, but... I've been watching your code critiques and they've been really helpful. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you like them. I'm glad you like them. Hopefully we can get back to doing some of those soon. Hello, Dione. Welcome. Wave function collapse. All right, here we go again. Hello, CG Gaming. What application are you using for your to-do list? Is Obsidian How do you do that? Yeah, it's Obsidian with the Kanban community plugin. So if you just go to the plugins browser and you search for Kanban, you should find it. I think I need to nerf the Pilgrim Path sign. So yeah, I think the enemy has a lot of healing abilities. I really need to, I'm getting to the point where I need to be able to filter these cards better so I can see what's all available. Is it worth spending the time to do that right now? Hello, Rid, welcome back. Good to see you again. Welcome, welcome. Is it worth spending the time to make this tool a little bit more sophisticated? I do have this wave function collapse algorithm, which I still want to use. I might be getting to the point where I need to do different options for these tools here. This will help with one of the tasks that I want to get done for today, though, for sure. Well, I don't think it's worth spending the time to do that right now. I just don't have a good idea of like what all of the enemy abilities are. I think I have a heal preserve card, yeah. So what should we give the pond? What should we do for the pond? There's the pond. No ability. Hello, Jehar. Good evening to you. Do you know if there's a way to control drag nodes into VS Code like you can with the built-in editor? I think there's an extension that you can do that with, but I'm not sure. I'd add 2 filters to display enemy cards and major ability. Yeah, I want to be able to filter by tag. I want to be able to filter by whether it's an enemy or a player card. I want to be able to filter by ability type. Of course, that's going to require quite a lot of work, and so I just don't know if I want to do that right now. Uh, 4.6 apparently dropped yesterday. Have you migrated? I have. Cupid makes games. I'm already on 4.6. I updated yesterday, and the update was smooth. Don't have any issues with it, so that's good. All right, so for the pond, I mean, obviously I'm probably going to want to do some kind of heal ability. There's not a whole lot of status effects that the enemy applies, so... want to make it more interesting than just a plain heal, though, I think. One thing that I might want to do is make it All right, let's do something like this. Let's just do something pretty basic. We'll do a heal, I guess. Well, I think what I want to do actually, var query target provider is equal to query target provider dot self query. What we're going to do is we're going to make it do extra healing if it's on the bottom edge of the board. So we'll do self query here, entire board, but we want to do query options, query target provider dot query options dot query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query directions bottom edge. Now the question is, am I using this bottom edge anywhere? It doesn't look like it. Okay, so we're going to need to add support for bottom edge. Else, if query directions.has flag bottom edge on the bottom edge of the board. Okay. Let's see if we can find all this place. Okay. If query options dot has flag bottom edge get cells and row dimensions dot y minus 1 union with bottom edge cells. Cool. And then we also need to do this here. Okay. There we go. All right, so now we can support bottom edge query. So let's do var value scalar is equal to new value scalar query target provider value scalar dot set let's do const int base heal equals 5. Set multiplier base heal value scalar dot set additional value base heal. Now this actually needs to be current heal. So do current heal equals base heal, current heal there. Oops. Okay, and then in the scaling tier, var scalar is equal to ability scalars dot get heal scalar return, no, not return, value scalar set multiplier. Let's do current heal is equal to base heal, nope, is equal to scalar base heal tier set multiplier current heal value scalar dot set additional value current heal. I think I probably did the acolyte wrong now that I think about it. Just fix that. I was never reassigning this current fire damage there. Okay. So now we need a dynamic magnitude ability. Heal is equal to new dynamic magnitude ability. We're going to do the value scalar in here, and then new heal 0. We're going to pass in the query target provider. And then we want to do the dynamic heal as well. Okay, and then we need the description. Heal, current heal. If well, I was hoping I'd be able to use the query target provider toString here, but this card is on the bottom edge of the board. Heal, current heal times 2 instead. So this is actually going to be relatively tricky. I don't think my here we go, wave function collapse. I don't think my wave function collapse algorithm supports detecting if a card needs to be placed in a certain location. So I'm going to have to do a deep dive into that, but we're going to be going into the wave function collapse anyway, because I want to update this. I'm also going to check, make sure WFC algorithm works with self-query cards like Pond. This to-do list keeps going and going and going, but we've got the Pond ability now. So let's just take a look at this and make sure that it works. I'm fairly certain it's going to work, but it doesn't hurt to test these things out. How's 4.6 for you? I'm having some problems with VS Code. Seems LSP is losing connection all the time using GDScript. Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm using C#, so it's fine. I have had a couple of Godot editor crashes. Usually it happens when I'm running the game. The editor will just crash, but the game continues to run. So I think that that's a new problem. But other than that, it's all right. Okay, so let's see if I do this. So let's make sure that this is healing for 10. Software repo for my distro hasn't updated yet, but eagerly waiting. Oh, I see. Hello, user. Wondering why you chose C# over GDScript. Any reason? Just personal preference. C# has a lot of nice things that I like. Interfaces, abstract classes, all that good stuff. Okay, so that's working. Let's move it back to the middle of the board and see if it just heals for 10. And then we can move on to doing the wave function collapse stuff. I don't know which one I want to handle first. Probably not. Well, I can check if the self-query stuff works or not. Gonna have to investigate that, but let's see if this works. Okay, that is working. So the pond is good to go. Add pond ability. All right, so the pond is good to go. Let's open up my board configuration editor again. And I want to see how often the pond gets put on the board. Let's do 1,000. There's a pond on the bottom of the board. That's cool. Oh my gosh, so many. That one's not on the bottom of the board. That one is on the bottom of the board. Let's do a little bit of a bigger board here. That one is not on the bottom. So I don't know, that one's not on the bottom. I don't know if this is actually taking into account self-query and the position that it needs to be in. So that's something that I'm going to need to do. I think if it ever ends up on the bottom edge of the board, it just happens to be happenstance. I don't want the enemy boards to be perfect though. Like there should be some cases where an ability is not making full use. Like we're not trying to optimize the power of the enemy board. We're just trying to make it generally sensible. That's the goal. And so we don't necessarily want this pond card to be on the bottom of the board all the time, but it should definitely be happening more often than not. Also, I'm not seeing the scarecrow anywhere. Did my scarecrow get broken? Where is the scarecrow? Unless I'm thinking of it wrong. Oh no, I'm in the wrong region, that's why. Scarecrow can only show up in the first notoriety region. There we go, I just saw one. Oh, there's two. Okay. Anyway, I just want to make sure that oddly shaped cards are still being placed appropriately and all that good stuff. All right, cool. You draw the assets yourself? I did, yeah. Everything you see on the screen was drawn by me, except for the font, of course, and these Godot controls. But yeah, generally speaking, all the art that's actually made for the game is my art. Done pixel by pixel. By hand. That's crazy. It is crazy. I mean, it is. Like, I've been working on this game for quite a while now, but just seeing the library of cards that I have available, all the different pieces of art and everything, it's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. And then all the UI elements and stuff too. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Hello, V. Welcome back. Even made Ace Bright to do it. No, I didn't make Ace Bright, no. No, that's a lie. Welcome back, Blair William, though. My viewers are lying about me to make me sound better than I am. I guess that's a good thing, right? I guess that's a good thing. I mean, are you really a niche e-celebrity if your viewers aren't lying to make you look cooler? I made it, Mom. I made it. Each pixel cast in the fires of Mount Doom. Yep, that's true. Yeah. See? Anyway, let's go into the wave function collapse. This guy made Stardew. Yep, it's true. Straight business. Yep, that's me. No. If only. I wouldn't be streaming right now on YouTube if I made the kind of money that Stardew did. One can dream. One can dream. I suck at drawing, just good at programming and security. Hey, those are good skills to have too. You replaced the frog art again, and what was the card on the lower right? Oh, I don't know. Are you talking about this card? So yes, I replaced the frog card again. The frog now looks like this, which I think is better than what I had before. So this was the first version, right? And then I moved on to this version here, and then I moved to this version. So this version looks a lot better than this version. It's the same idea, but I think I just executed it better. So it's much better from just a shape standpoint, but I didn't want to make this art go to waste. So then I brought this art over into the pond card and I replaced the foreground frog with just some random plants there. And so now this is more like a scene, right? He can even draw cruel frog. No, I'm done. I'm not drawing a frog ever again. That's not happening. I struggled way too much with that. I'm not doing that anymore. Not happening. He made Godot too. All right, this is getting out of hand. I remember the stream which you programmed Godot to start working on this game. Yeah. And Unity also. You guys are ridiculous. Oh, the frog art is great, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. I created wave function collapse. All right, this is like... I'm actually worried that people are going to think I'm actually claiming these things now. Jester art is so good, although I haven't seen the Jester in a while. Yeah, the Jester's nice. I love the Jester. All right, there we go. Current frog looks good. And what does the pond card do? The pond just heals, and it heals double if it's on the bottom edge of the board. So trying to introduce some more interesting query capabilities for these cards. Anyway, one problem with the enemy board is that it doesn't have a whole lot of variety in a lot of cases. And I think the reason is like it's generating, for example, a field mouse quite frequently. So you end up with these boards that are like basically just field mice. Like this. And then you get like 2 pumpkin patches. It's like, I want this kind of a board to be a possibility, but the problem is it's doing that too often. Like I just got 2 pumpkin patches in a row. And so I want to put some kind of biasing into the wave function collapse algorithm to discourage or make it less likely for cards that have already been picked to be picked again. Now, again, I want that to be a possibility, right? Because especially as the enemy boards grow larger and we get into the more difficult regions, there's definitely opportunities for the same card to be picked multiple times on the board, right? So I don't want to make that a non-possibility. So I think what my approach is going to be is I'm just going to make it less likely to be picked. And I actually don't even know if that's going to fully solve the problem, but we'll see. But now I have to go back into my enemy board generator, and we have to figure out what the heck is going on. So generate board, we're going to get the lowest entropy tile. I just realized that this is probably a problem as well. Okay. Let's just write a note in here. To do. If guaranteed cards have been placed, we shouldn't pick random tile to start. Only pick random if board is empty. And there goes the cat. There goes the cat. What? 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 Come here. Come on. What do you want? Come here. Hi. I'm trying to think, buddy. Ah. Are you happy now? Are you happy? He just stands at the threshold of my doorway there and just meows into the room. Okay, anyway, so in here, filter tile data to damage cards. So if iterations equals 0 and not has damage card, is this being called multiple times? No. Okay. So select weighted card ID, update entropy for placed tile. For each var cell, we're going to remove that tile data. Get empty cells, update placeable card IDs. What is this? So for each empty cell, we are going to update the placeable card IDs for that cell. Can place card at position, so we're going to filter out any cards that can't be placed at that cell position. And then we are going to look at the card queryables. Now we're going to see how many cells that affects. Affected cells intersect with tiles.keys if affected cells.count is equal to 0, return false. So we're going to filter out any cards with queryable abilities that could affect 0 cells. Okay. That makes sense. So basically, those are the only criteria that we're using to filter out the possible cards that can be placed at a cell. We're checking, can the card even be placed at that position? If it can't be placed at that position, we're removing it from the list of possible cards. And then we're checking, okay, does the card that we're looking at, so we're filtering over every card ID, does it have a query ability, so an ability that affects the board or looks at the current board state? We're going to look at the affected cells. And if the intersect with tiles.keys. Oh, right. So what we're doing here is we're checking of the remaining tiles that could still have a card placed on them, are any of them going to be affected by this query ability? If the answer is no, then we're going to filter that card out as well. Is that right? That doesn't seem right to me. Update placeable card IDs by query options. Update entropy for placed card. Update placeable card IDs. I don't know if this is right. Because then we're calling down here. Is that right? So if the card we just placed has some queryable abilities, then we're updating all of the, not all the cells, but we're updating several of the cells that can be affected by that query ability. We're filtering down the list of possible cards to place at those cells. So I'm not entirely sure what this is doing in here. Update placeable card IDs. Let me take a look at this again. So this just indicates if a card can be placeable. Query affected cards, 4 card, shadow position. Oh, I know what this is doing. So this is just basically making sure that, like, let's say that I have a card that only affects cards to the left of it, right? So what this is doing is this is saying, are there even any tiles that are remaining that are available to the left of the card that could be placed? If the answer is no, then we're going to filter that one out because that's going to have no effect. Okay, so that makes sense. Does that make sense though? Because this is just looking at the tiles that are unplaced. I'm not sure if this is right. But it does not consider the cards that have already been placed. So I don't think that's a proper solution. I'm gonna have to look at that as well. But let's just fix the task. Let's just handle the task at hand right now, which is to prevent too many of the same cards from being placed. So I think what I'm gonna want to do is in here, private list string placed card IDs. We can do the read-only list string. Okay. Update entropy for placed card. Placed card IDs dot add. Card definition resource ID. Actually, this should probably be, I should probably make this a hash set. We could do a hash set. Okay, so where am I actually doing this? Select weighted card. Where is that? Select weighted card ID. Possible card IDs. If ID equals null, add item null 10. Concrete card cell count -1 times 20. So this is increasing the weight of larger cards. Our default weight is equal to this. But what we want to do is we want to say, if placed card IDs contains ID, we'll just reduce the default weight. And what I might actually do is I might make this private const int default card weight, and we'll set this to 100. Let's see where everywhere I'm looking 10. So I multiplied this by 10, so I wonder if I need to multiply this by private const int large card weight bias. Let's see. Large card weight bias. All right. I hope that's not too much, but we'll see. Will there be a giant enemy crab at some point? We could do that. Cat, yeah. Nowadays are maps for RPGs, open world RPGs, dungeons and such created manually, or using the noise algorithm mostly. Nowadays are maps for RPG. I have no idea how maps for RPGs are created. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on the game. As far as I'm aware, like, I think Skyrim was mostly like handcrafted, or all handcrafted. But like, if you look at a game like Starfield, I think they were using some procedural generation for that game. I think it depends on the game. But I don't know how it's done typically. The cat will never tell you what he wants. My cat does the same thing. I know. It's like, use your words, cat. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Good to see you. All right, let's try this out. So the goal is to reduce mostly the number of field mice that are being put on the board. Do I need to increase this? There we go. Okay, so we've got 4 field mice. That's not exactly great. 4 field mice again. 2 field mice, 2 pumpkin patches. I think it's generally looking better. I can't really tell though. I think I have a way of running a test here. So we run the test. I forgot what that test outputs. Log or debug serialized object stats model. So cards placed, unique enemy cards placed, total occurrences. Okay, well, let's just run this and see what happens. And we should see, if I go to my log, we should see that data logged here. Whenever this starts up. Okay, here we go. So here's all the enemy cards. I think it's just doing the first region. So total cards placed 36,000, boards without damage 161, unique enemy cards available 50, unique enemy cards placed. So it is placing all of the available cards. That's good. The Scarecrow has an occurrence rate of 0.4%. It occurred in 149 boards out of... Oh, I'm not tracking... Oh, out of 5,000. Is that right? 149 out of 5,000? No, this number is different. Oh, boards placed in rate. Oh, I have a different... So what is the occurrence rate? I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that again. I didn't realize I have this. Okay, so it's placed in almost 3% of boards. That's good. But if we look at the field mouse, wherever that is, mouse. So this is appearing at 11% of boards. And it's placed in a total, or no, occurrence rate. This must be out of the total number of cards placed. So it's 11% of the total cards placed, but it appears in 34% of boards. Is that the highest rate? Jester appears in 26%. Oh, is this using all of the... I think this is using all of the enemy cards. Maybe I should modify this a little bit. Oh, I think I might be randomizing the region. Oh yeah, I'm setting the notoriety region. Okay, let's just set the notoriety region here to 0, and we'll run it again, and we'll be able to see better what's going on there. Use custom resources for the base data for enemy, but you use that very same file to store current values like current health and so on? No, I don't. No. My custom resources are just the base data. If I need to change data about it, I always convert it into like a different class. So the resource is just the configurable base data, but I never change the data on the resource during runtime. At least not in this game. Okay. 45% of boards have a field mouse. These are the cards that are all not placed, which is fine because these are all things that appear in the later regions. I mean, now that I'm looking at it, the mouse here is not that out of step. Well, I guess it is. It's 45%. Everything else is like massive. So I need a better way of debugging this, because I don't really know like internally what's happening here. Like I don't know if it's just getting down to like only a mouse is available because it's a 1x1 card. Also, we have this query affected cells here, or this query consideration. What I could do, I could just divide this harder, maybe. I don't think that's going to help, though. The rate went up. Oh my gosh. Okay, so did I do everything correctly here? So I think the tile data possible card IDs is, for some reason, it's being filtered down to only a mouse. Let me try something here. only mouse. So I just want to see if this is happening where the mouse is the only option available, because that may indicate a different problem. Are you in Godot 4.6? I am, yes. Okay, so now I need to go in here. Let's just do 4, 4, apply dimensions. Let's do 800. Okay. Yeah, so mouse ends up being the only option. And that's why it's getting chosen so often. Although it doesn't seem to be... Like, there's 4 mice there, so let's take a look. Yeah. You know what? I wonder if that's just because of a lack of cards that are available. I think that I think I only have one card that is both a damaging card and a minion card that's also 1/1 for the enemies, and I think that's the mouse. Oh no, I have chickens too. The chicken is a 1/1 minion. The problem is the mouse has the swarm ability, so I think that's affecting the possibilities of the empty tiles. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think this change that I made here is probably a good one. And we can make this scale up based on the total number of the same card that's been placed. And maybe we'll do that. Dictionary string int placed card ID count. Placed card ID counts ID +1. Change this. That'll work. Okay, let's just see what that does now. So now I'm dividing it by the count. So it should show the weight of each card should go down the more times it gets picked. Now that's not going to fully resolve the problem, because if it's the only option remaining, then, you know, it's the only option remaining. But hopefully that increases the variety of the boards a little bit. We'll just have to play test that, I guess. We'll have to play test something. Yeah, I'll have to leave that to do in place there. We'll have to fix that later. Okay. I'll just put that in the backlog. Address to do in WFC. Okay, I think that's basically done. We're gonna have to test that, but that should help a little bit. I just don't know if it's gonna be totally effective. Dang it. Make repeated card placements less common in WFC. Okay. Hello, Clippy. Welcome back. Good to see you. So many afternoon streams lately. Yes. We got to get this game playtest ready. Do you use any tools to have a global perspective on your game, like Notion or Obsidian or simple text files? I just have the Obsidian Kanban board. That's basically it. How do you use Obsidian? Just as a Kanban board. So I just track everything that I want to do. I move it through the lanes from to do to in progress to done. And that's basically it. So I just keep adding stuff as I think of it. Adding and removing stuff, constantly tweaking. Wow, it is bad outside. I can't see more than 20 feet out my window. Goodness gracious. Snow is coming down hard. Wow. Well, I'm glad I'm inside. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we will work on some of the other stuff that we've got to work on here. Okay, I'm back. You have snow? I do have snow. Yep. I created the snow? Oh, goodness. Temperature, is this that good? I guess so. I guess so. This is done. Okay. Make sure WFC algorithm works with self-query cards like Pond. Well, since we're already in here, we might as well see if I can get that one done. I don't know how this is going to work. I think what I want to do is I want to remove... Well, maybe I don't. Not in here. Update placeable card IDs by query options. Here we go. Query options, any card matches filters. Card matches query filters. If base card equals null and query empty cells return true. Return false. So we're looking through all the cards. Board queryables. Okay, so we're placing the card, we're grabbing its queryables. Then we're going to all the affected cells. And we're saying, update the placeable card IDs in that cell. Does this tile data not have... does not have the cell data inside of it. Okay, interesting. Board queryable select. So we're selecting the query options. So we're iterating over all of the affected cells. Update placeable card IDs by query options. Okay, so this is not where I want to change that because that's for the card that gets placed. I think what I want to do... I think what I need to do is I need to change... So in this initialize, where is that? Update placeable card IDs. I need a more interactive way of debugging this. This is not good, but... So I'm setting up all the tile data. Every tile gets all of the possible card IDs, and then I'm iterating over every single one, and I'm checking to see if it's placeable. But here's the thing, I don't want to remove like the pond from consideration from all of the other cells just because it is optimally placed on the bottom edge of the board. So I need to have some kind of, it's not necessarily gonna, maybe it just needs to be a biasing. It might just need to be a biasing. So when I actually go to select the card, I think what I should do is bias for cards that will have an optimal placement. So when I actually go to select, where is that? Select weighted card ID. I'm not doing anything in here with respect to the queryables, and maybe I need to do that. Maybe when I'm selecting a card, I should weight in favor of like whether it will affect other cards on the board, but at least let's get it working for self-querying. Actually, I'm going to change this large card weight bias down to 100 again. Yeah, that should work. Placed card ID counts, default weight. Okay, so let's do this. Self-query only. So we're going to select the first, which is self-query only. If self-query is not equal to null, then what we're going to do is we are going to check we need to query the affected cells. Where is that? Query affected cells. Here we go. Self-query.query options or card. I think I need to do select weighted card ID vector 2I position. Affected cells is equal to that. If affected cells dot contains position, we will, I guess we'll just multiply the default weight there. Okay, so is this logically, so I'm going to look for if this card has a self-query ability. If it does have a self-query ability, we're going to get the affected cells. So if this is self-query only, where is that? No, that's not right. That's not going to work. Oh, goodness. What I need to do is, maybe I don't need to do the self query only. What I need to do is I need to here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna print this. I just want to see if this actually prints anything, because I don't think it's going to print anything. I think that this query affected cells is not going to return any cells that match the self query position, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to see. Failed to build project. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens. Output. Let's do 4, apply dimensions, region 1, 800. What? Okay, I'm gonna do this. If self query is not equal to null and ID is equal to card ID dot pond. Oh, I didn't update the pond. Card ID constants generator. We'll get this working eventually. Okay, so now I should see whenever the pond is being placed, I should be able to see this. Okay, 4, apply dimensions. Move this up to 800, 1, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. No, that's right. Okay, okay. So the affected cells are being queried. How is that actually working? Result.union with, result accept with accepted cells. Okay. So maybe this is working. I don't know. We can just give it a couple of runs and see what happens. That's a lot. That's a lot of mice. Oh gosh, I'm gonna need to fix this. I might need to take a totally different approach to this wave function collapse stuff, but we'll see. So that was a pond. It got placed in the top right. Another pond got placed in the top. Another pond got placed in the top. Is this just not... Okay, there's a pond in the bottom. Pond is not in the bottom. Is this doing anything? Pond bias. Let's just print pond bias. Hello, Not Nomics. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. All right, let's see. Apply dimensions, 800. Okay, let's see if I can see the pond bias being done anywhere. There is no pond bias being applied, ever. So that means that this is not working. Let me check those numbers again. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to print the print S position. So the position that we're currently looking at plus the cell. I don't think this is going to work. I think I'm doing something wrong here. I think that I probably shouldn't do the filtering in the weighted card ID, actually. That's probably not going to work. So it is looking at the bottom row. However, the cells that we're considering are never in the bottom row, except for this one here. Oh, it's not just this position. I also need to... Okay. Var occupied, or to occupy cells is equal to concrete card.relative occupied cell select position plus offset to hash set. If affected cells intersect two occupied cells, intersect two occupied cells dot count dot I guess we can do dot count here. It's greater than 0, then we'll do the pond bias here. So what was happening is, yeah, I was looking at the cell above the bottom board, but this is I need to account for the fact that the card is 2 cells wide. So it's going to be placed, the root cell is going to be the position above the bottom row, but it's going to be touching the bottom row because of its length, right? So I need to, yeah, I need to account for that. So we're creating a hash set of occupied cells based on the position, and then we are then checking if there's any intersection between that and the affected cells. And so we're increasing the weight. Now, I think ideally what I would do is I would probably do that filtering. Well, no, it's not necessarily a filtering. Yeah, it's got to be changing the weight. So I think the approach is maybe correct. I don't know. We'll see. No pond bias. Did I get any pond bias prints? I didn't. So this is just not working. Okay, I need to take a look at this again. I think there's perhaps something not working here. Do you recommend written tutorials for Godot or video tutorials? I think it's just up to you, whatever you are going to learn with the best. I don't know if I would give you a recommendation, one or the other. And if you don't know which one you prefer personally, then oh yeah, then I would just do both and see which one you like better and then go with that. So what's happening here actually is that, so typically it's getting the whole bottom row, 0, 1, 3. However, you can notice here that 0, 3 is, where is that? 0, 3 is missing here. So when I'm looking at cell 0, 2, which is this one here, right? It's excluding this bottom cell, which means that there never is an intersection. And that's because I'm excluding the 4 card occupied cells here. Shadow position equals null, 4 card occupied cells. 4 card relative occupied cells. Right, so why am I accepting those cells? Okay, well there's an easy way around this. So I guess if I have the self query only on, or if I'm providing the shadow position, yeah, okay, because the default behavior is that when I run a query, it's not including the cells that this card occupies. So it gets every cell that matches the query that this card does not occupy. And what I'm doing is I'm faking the occupation of a cell in here, which is excluding the cell that I'm trying to check for. So I think what I could do is if I go to my query options here, I think this is a record. So what I'll do is I'll actually just do var query options except self query is equal to self query options with self query only equals false. And then I'll pass that in there. And so what that should do is that should just give me all of the cells. I think maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. 4 card occupies cell, self query. Shadow position equals null. Oh. I think I have a problem in my logic here. So if I'm allowing self-query or I'm doing self-query only, I'm saying there should be no card occupied cells, meaning that I want to get that result. Shadow position equals null, 4 card occupied cells. I think I have this logic wrong. If query options dot self query only or query options allow self query, return result. Otherwise, we can do this. Yeah, that's correct. So I basically don't want to accept any cells, EXCEPT, not accept. Except I want to remove the cells from the query result only if we don't have allow self query or self query only on. So we're just going to return that result. Otherwise, if those two things are not set, then we're going to get the card occupied cells. However, if the shadow position, we're only going to return that. So the current card position if the shadow position is null. Otherwise, we're going to get an adjusted set of cells based on the shadow position. So the shadow position is basically like, this is where I'm going to put the card, but the card is not there on the board. So this get card occupied cells here. Now is that going to break that now that I changed that? No. Get card occupied cells. Wait a minute. Base card. Dot select X. So this will just return an empty list if the card's not on the board, I think. Yeah, that will just return an empty list if the card's not on the board. So in my use case, this is going to be an empty list. And otherwise, because I'm passing in the shadow position, it's going to include all of the cells that the card would occupy if it was at that shadow position. Okay, I think that's correct. Now, I hope I didn't just break a whole bunch of stuff, but I should be able to get rid of this nonsense now and go back to this. And now I think it will work, hopefully. Hello, Bleeb. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing well. How are you doing? Okay, applied dimensions, 800. Let's see if we get any pond biasing here. Pond bias, there it is. Yeah, we have the exact same situation here, which is that, so it's looking at the cell that's at 02, but it's including the 03. So there we go. So now we just have to see if this pond is going to be, well, that pond is at the top. Oh, look, a bottom pond. Excellent. Now, it's not just for the pond. This is going to work for any self-query cards. Hey, look, a pond at the bottom. Those are two ponds that are not at the bottom. Another pond to the side. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of pumpkin patches. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of field mice. I'm gonna need to figure this out. Shoot. There's another pond at the bottom. I should be getting a lot of pond bias here. So I think that's okay. There's another pond at the bottom. So I think the problem is that the swarm cards are targeting each other, which is, yeah, causing chaos. I think that's why they're being generated quite a bit. There's another pond at the bottom. Okay, I think this biasing is working. I may actually just go ahead and increase this default weight. We'll put this up here. Private const int self query bias 3. We'll scroll all the way down here. Self query bias like so. Okay. Let's take a look at that without all the prints now. Okay. Look at that. The pawns are now tending to end up at the bottom there, so that's good. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So that's good. I need to also remove this ID equals card.pond so that it works with everything. Card ID to queryables. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Excellent. So I think that should work. Generally speaking, I still have to reduce the frequency of certain types of cards, but I think Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of getting all this working well. Query options, self-query only. Is this logically equivalent? Yeah, I think so. I think it's fine. I can actually probably just make this, simplify this a little bit. That makes more sense to me. Okay, all right. Bias, self-query cards in WFC. Okay, so that works. All right. So now, yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that wave function collapse. But I'm not going to make any major changes to the wave function collapse there because we've got the playtest coming up in a couple of weeks and I don't want to, or not a couple of weeks, a couple of days, and I don't want to mess anything up. Going to leave you here trying some stuff with Audacity so I can have background noise. See ya. All right. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. I'm actually going to be hopping off right now as well because it's dinner time for me. So thank you for going on that coding adventure with me. And the game is shaping up. We're generally gradually improving things, but you can wishlist Alka Mortis on Steam if you're interested. I would very much appreciate that. And yeah, again, the playtest is happening on Friday. It will be early access for Patreon subscribers first for 1 week, but then it will be open for anyone that wants to try it the week after that. So I definitely encourage you to check out the links in the description. Those are all the ways you could support me. You can also join the Discord that's linked below as well. Thanks again, everyone. I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you there. And yeah, I hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.